Hiya, you find me in the Millennium Garden again. It's a beautiful day. Lots of things are overgrown, as you can see. Plants and flowers and amazing things are sprouting up everywhere. I went down the Pointwell Mill yesterday and the amazing amount of comfrey that there is. The comfrey is a plant that quite well linked with Coggeshall through our own Henry Doubleday. According to the Coggeshall Museum website, Henry Doubleday was born in 1810, the fourth of 8 children. His father, William, came to Coggeshall in 1789 and opened a grocery shop at Market End, which is now Doubleday Corner. The family were Quakers and members of the Quaker community in Coggeshall. And as Quakers, they prospered in many ways. Henry had a love of natural sciences. He developed a scientific and practical knowledge of plants and plant chemistry. Unsurprisingly, Henry had no interest in the family grocery business. His elder brother, William, was happy to take on when their father died. There was also another Henry Doubleday, who was a cousin and lived in Epping. This Henry Doubleday also had a father who was a grocer. The Epping Henry Doubleday was a Victorian butterfly hunter who compiled the first catalogue of the British Lepidoptera, and his brother Edward became curator of the botany department at the British Museum. The Coggeshall Doubleday had a love of the natural sciences, but despite the fact that as a Quaker he was unable to study at university, he developed a scientific and practical knowledge of plants and plant chemistry. Henry was a religious man in the thoughtful and reflective Quaker tradition, and talked of observing the works of God in humbleness. His scientific investigations were made with a sense of discovery and wonder, rather than as a means of personal aggrandizement or fame. Henry Doubleday did more than just develop a gum to put on stamps that you could lick and stick the stamp to the envelope. He grew crops, raised cattle, kept 3 cows and a pony, and several hives of bees. His small holdings enjoyed a measure of success and were both a means of earning a living and a laboratory for his experimental crops. Henry had 2 exhibits at the Great Exhibition at Crystal Palace in 1851, which demonstrate his resourcefulness. Firstly, he produced a hive of honey contained in a very handsome carved rosewood frame with plate glass sides and top. The industrious bees have completely filled it. This may have been one of the first observational beehives, something which is now quite familiar. His other entry in the exhibition seems very unlikely. New designs for tambour lace. Coggeshall lace was important at the time, and Henry, for some reason, must have turned his analytic mind to producing new patterns which were worked in lace, and earned him a bronze medal and a statuette of Prince Albert. Henry also manufactured his own glue, for which he was also granted a patent. Unfortunately, supplies of gum arabic derived from the extract of the acacia tree were erratic, and Henry was forced to look for an alternative source which could be grown in Coggeshall. Reading the journal of the Royal Society of Agriculture, he came across a description of a Russian comfrey, to which the word mucilaginous, having a viscous or gelatinous consistency, was attached. He sent off a letter to the head gardener of the palace at St. Petersburg. So the English gardener there sent him back some seedlings, making Henry the first to import them into England. He replanted his plot near the abbey with this Russian comfrey. The plants thrived in Coggeshall, but ultimately the gum produced was ineffective, and Henry lost the contract with Delarue and had to sell the factory. His interest in comfrey, however, continued. Henry's work on comfrey was recognised, and he was elected a Fellow of the Royal Horticultural Society. Comfrey is prevalent all over Coggeshall. It's a plant that's sprouting up everywhere. Now, back in the day, our Henry Doubleday was experimenting with comfrey in order to produce this gum for the stamps. And so he was planting it, and I'm sure a lot of the comfrey that we see out in the wild has somewhere along the line been linked to Henry's versions of comfrey. It's an amazing plant, but it's poisonous if you take it internally. Taken internally, it can cause liver damage, and you don't want that. Anyway, if this video was of any interest to you, please leave it up there, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be in a position to see you next week in another video. So stay safe.